Spider-Man has been one of the most iconic superheroes to enter pop culture for decades, ever since his introduction as a relatable, all-too-human superhero in 1962. His abilities consist of the ability to stick to walls, enhance strength and durability, and an acute spider sense that is able to alert him when danger is near. While the wall crawling and proportional strength make the most sense given the common abilities of many spiders, the concept of a spider sense seems to be a bit more obscure of an ability. Therefore, we wanted to research it and discover if a spider sense was actually real. Is there an actual basis for this seemingly precognitive superpower in real-world science? Do spiders really have a spider sense? Surprisingly, yes, but perhaps not in the way you'd expect. So stick with us today, watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, as we delve into the real-world science behind Peter Parker's spider sense. Typically, these videos revolving around Marvel in the real world don't do particularly well. So if you want to see more of them, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, as well as suggest more in the comments. Now, let's get on with it. It's important to note that this video will largely center around the feats of spider sense as shown on screen. And while Peter Parker has an extensive tenure in the comics of his spider sense, performing incredible feats, this video will be centered primarily around his live-action portrayals. The first and most important note is that the science behind the spider sense is not a precognitive or telepathic ability, as it does not literally predict the future. While spiders cannot see future events before they happen, their acute senses are in fact far more in tune with their surroundings than us mere mortals. In Avengers Infinity War, we see Peter Parker become alerted to the presence of Ebony Maw and Cole Obsidian's Q-ship when he is on the school bus. The hairs on his arm stand straight up, and he immediately knows that something is wrong. But according to real-world arachnology, his hairs aren't in fact standing up to alert him, but they're likely standing up to obtain more information based on what real spiders actually do. Real spiders have what is known as trichobithria. Since they do not have ears, these hairs are incredibly sensitive to air pressure and stimuli around them, able to detect changes in air pressure down to the 10 billionth of a meter. This incredibly hypersensitivity to an array of different factors most likely serves as the basis for the spider sense that we know, not only that we see in the MCU, but in Spider-Man's other live-action portrayals. This kind of ability actually has more widely associated with another crimson-clad superhero from Marvel's pantheon, the man without fear himself, Daredevil. The real-world basis of a spider sense is actually more closely related to Daredevil's super senses, as he can pick up subtle changes in air pressure, can smell the individual ingredients in any meal, and can use his super senses to fight crime on a daily basis. It's also important to note that humans don't just have the 5 principal senses that we are taught about and are most commonly aware of, but may have upwards of 20 distinct senses that we often take for granted yet don't realize. This includes our senses of things like balance, temperature, hunger and thirst, time, and spatial orientation. These senses are the reason you can put your hands over your head and know exactly where they are in relation to each other and the rest of your body without ever seeing them, or why you can wake up in the morning and immediately know your body's physical position without seeing yourself. This is also the science behind the phenomena known as gaze detection, which is the eerie feeling that humans get when someone is staring at them. Though it may seem like an otherworldly sense, the basic scientific foundation is that our bodies are able to perceive the world around us on levels that we do not notice, and it sends these messages back to our brains without us knowing that we detect it in the first place. Our bodies are amazing. The sense of sight alone incorporates 10 individual brain regions, and the science behind these 6 senses is often far more complex than our conscious understanding and often goes unnoticed by many. But the human body is incredibly capable of receiving stimuli that our conscious minds don't always understand or even detect. The human body also has an acute sense known as magnetoreception, which is, in simple terminology, the sense of the Earth's magnetic field. Many animals have this as well, far stronger than that in humans, which is why birds know which direction is south when flying away for the winter. But if all of Spider-Man's senses are dialed up to 11 like he tells Tony Stark in Civil War, then it stands to reason that Peter Parker's sense of magnetoreception is far stronger than anyone else's. If this is the case, then it's even possible that Peter himself does not know the specific cause or existence of this phenomenon, only that it allows him a certain degree of enhanced awareness. Humans also have what is known as chemoreceptors, which are responsible for detecting harmful substances in the human body and triggering the gag reflex and the response known as vomiting. These levels of sensitivity may give Peter a specialized acute awareness that he perceives as a spider sense, or some type of precognition without actually knowing what is causing it. But the scientific explanation comes down to enhanced hypersensitivity to surrounding stimuli. In Civil War, he is battling Sam and Bucky in the airport terminal, and seems to know that something had been thrown at him from behind in order to dodge it effectively. This is not actually precognition, but more likely it's Peter sensing the vibrations in the air and the disturbances in the atmosphere. By judging these atmospheric changes, he can discern things like size, weight, and speed of the object through the air without actually ever seeing it. He then knows that it is an immediate threat based on this information, and can effectively dodge it in time. Even going back to the Raimi trilogy, when we first see Tobey Maguire's Peter coming attuned to his spider sense, time seems to slow down for him. This type of hyperfocus takes us across his school hallway, showing us that he is aware of the paper airplane, a spitball, and a fly specifically, among other things. Each of these objects are creating micro disturbances in the air, and are sending pressure waves back to Peter for him to register, though he is able to process this information input on such a minuscule scale that we humans perceive as precognition. When Doc Ock throws the car through the cafe window in Spider-Man 2, Peter isn't sensing the abstract concept of danger, he is instead most likely perceiving something very large and very heavy traveling toward him, based on the rate that the air around him is being rapidly disturbed. These acute super senses, paired with already enhanced reflexes, are likely the basis of what allows Spider-Man to seemingly predict danger before it arrives. And while his extensive comic tenure takes more liberties regarding what exactly his spider sense is capable of, the science shown in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and even in Peter Parker's previous live-action iterations, is based in real-world phenomena and makes logical, scientific sense based on what's been investigated and discovered here in the real world. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of these scientific discoveries? Did you know that humans had more than 5 senses? Or is this all new information to you? As for Peter Parker's spider sense, do you think that this is a plausible real-world explanation for the science behind why Peter can detect danger? If you love these real-world videos, it would really help us out again if you could leave a like and comment and share, as a lot of time and research goes into them. As always, my friends, hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.